Welcome back to CFB Nation. I'm your host, Nino Brown. I got my guy, Mr. Get It Done, Dnow. This is Devy Darlings. As you can tell by the getup, we'll be talking about Colorado Buffalo today. And that's going to be wide receiver slash DB, Travis Hunter. Dnow, how we doing tonight, buddy?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's officially week 1 of college football. Some great games this week. So I couldn't be more excited.
There was some good games in week 0. A
There
couple of
was, there
blowouts,
was.
but yeah, you know how it goes. Week 1's loaded. You're getting big matchups, and then Thursday, what do we got? 7 games on Thursday or something stupid like that?
Yeah, something. But I mean, I'm going to be glued to that Utah-Florida game.
Yeah, we're gonna
So,
see Graham Mertz if he's gonna throw up on his shoes in ran the first quarter.
right.
All right, let's get into Travis Hunter. I mean, we by now most people college football, even if you're just casual, you know the kid's name, right? He flipped college football upside down as number one recruit. He went over to Jackson State. But before all that, right? 6'1", 185 pounds. He was 24/7's 99th rated prospect, like 99% top prospect. He was number one DB rated by them in the country, and he was number one player out of Georgia. And on 3 had him as a 99.5 rated prospect. He was the number one athlete for them, also the number one player out of Georgia. Max Prep gave him player of the year for Georgia. And I say at Georgia because we know, and then for the people at home, Georgia football players, Texas football players, and Florida offensive, defensive linemen, you're getting dogs, right? I mean, this is where the cream of the crop pretty much comes from.
Yeah, those guys are cut from a different cloth.
Yeah, so to
Just
be
athletic
one,
freaks.
to be
Yeah.
one, it's crazy. I got a little tidbit I'm going to drop a little later for you. It's kind of surprised me. But at Collins Hill High School, right? I want to play both sides of the ball, which we know because he's been doing it, in his collegiate career. But he had 272 receptions, close to 4,000 yards, 48 touchdowns. He had almost 30 attempts rushing the ball for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he was 4 for 8 for 118 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 4 picks. That's just on the offensive side of the ball. He had 116 tackles, 19 interceptions, 18 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles, and 4 tackles for loss in 4 years of high school. Dino, those are gaudy numbers, which makes people understand as to why he was the number one athlete, player in Georgia, or whatever you want to put a stamp on him for.
Yeah, those numbers are just ridiculous. What I like to see, though, is that 4 for 8 for some touchdowns. That was the last thing I was expecting when I saw his stats.
I saw the interceptions pop up first, and I was like, "Oh man!" But then I'm like, "Oh, 3 tutties? All right, that's not bad."
Yeah.
We see him on on the social media. He's messing around with Shador, and he's messing around, with the gentleman from USF that transferred over with them, and they're just throwing the ball around. You can see he's got somewhat of fun, but he just seems like he's just having a jolly good time. But I guess they used him for what they needed him for in those games.
It makes me think of that scene from Friday Night Lights where it's like, and he can pass.
Yeah. So. He's got a little trick in every bag, right?
Yep.
Now here's the thing. Here's what as a senior year, right? He had 51 tackles, 8 picks, 7 pass breakups. Now he broke the high school record in Georgia held by Braxton Hicks, right? Who had it was at 48 total tackles. I believe I a secondary player. Now here's the thing. Braxton Hicks was a dude coming out of Georgia. He had 183 pass receptions, 1,500 yards, 46 touchdowns, 19 yards per catch, and he had 48 tackles. Like this kid was a dude. He ended up being a walk-on at Georgia, and he's still there right now. Travis Hunter surpassed on. And you want to go and ask anybody from Georgia, you go down and just mention the name Braxton Hicks and be like, oh, what do you know? You're not out of town. You know a little something. And Hunter pretty much body bagged him, right? Like you got one kid's going as a walk on, this other kid is doing whatever he wants, wherever he wants to go. He could have got a deal. He committed to Jackson State. What were your thoughts when that happened? Tell me.
Um, Honestly, once I saw that they might be an option, is like, how do you say no to Prime? Honestly, like, I mean, if you're gonna say no to Saban or Kirby Smart,
Right.
Prime is the only person that you could say no to them for. So
Yeah,
I
I'm with
mean,
it. I'm with it. And you go,
and
and he
then
was recruited by Florida State, right? Wasn't he like they wanted him and he was gonna go where
yeah,
Deion had built a legend, and then he ended up going to be with Deion. And now that's almost like family pretty much now.
oh yeah, he's
That
like
field.
his third son, fourth
Yeah,
son.
yeah. I think third son. I don't know. One of them does video, two of them play football. So yeah, be his fourth son.
Yeah,
uh so here are some things that stuck out to me. Okay, he's a generational talent. I know they throw this around, but this is straight facts. I mean, this guy can play both sides of the ball with ease, and he can win on both sides of the ball. He's a legitimate two-way player. I mean, I know we're going to get into a little discussion soon about it, but I think he's a lockdown DB. I call him island status. You can put him on an island. He can play by himself. That whole side of the field is eliminated. He's got elite footwork, good speed. This is what I like from for a kid who's kind of lanky and seems to just want to play high point of ball. He's good with his change of pace, right? He knows when to turn it on and turn it off. He's got great vision. His size and length is going to be a problem for wide receivers when he's playing on the defensive side of the ball. Playing on both sides of the ball helps his instincts. He's already knows what some people are going to do. Most people say he's his closest comp to Charles Woods. Never. I will not do my homeboy KT any disservice. I know that's his guy. Okay, I'm not even going to say that. But another thing that I found as a tidbit was Urban Meyer compared him to Percy Harvin. Okay, and I get it because he's a multifaceted tool. He can play anywhere on the field. But this is what he said. That guy, those guys, they don't need to practice. Percy Harvin didn't need to practice. I don't think Percy Harvin could have practiced because he had migraines every other day.
I was gonna say, yeah, did he practice?
Travis Hunter is a different story. What are your thoughts on the attributes and the things that I thought popped off the screen?
Yeah, his footwork is insane. I've watched him do the drills. His size, I will say, it initially worried me because he came out of high school a buck 65.
Yeah, he put on 20
So to
pounds.
see that he put on 20, almost 25 pounds, I think that'll help, especially last year with the injury that I
Right.
know we're going to talk about. Adding the weight will help. I agree. He's above 6 foot. Any corner above 6 foot is going to be a challenge for a wide receiver. On top of his genetic freak athleticism.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I think you hit it right on the nail on the head with all those.
All right. So, like we said with Jackson State in 2022, it was pretty much riddled, injury riddled right off the jump. Right. I think it was in spring he got injured and it kind of tried to come back early. And we've seen all the posts by Deion pretty much pull him to the side, saying, "Listen, buddy, like I want you to play as much as you want to play, but I don't want you to risk your health." And then kid understood, and then he was ready to play, and he finally played. And in those 3 games that he did play, 19 tackles, 15 solo tackles, 8 pass breakups, 2 picks. He had back-to-back deceptions in the first game. The second game he started, and then he caught the touchdown in the bowl game, which you saw in the intro. I mean, he just when he's fully healthy and they're letting him play, man, he is just electric. That's the only word I can think of because he can go up and get the ball. He can beat you off the route. He got beat, all right, by number 10, all right. The DB in practice got his hands in Travis Hunter's chest and got him off his route. And you heard Deion kind of grunt a little bit in the video, and the wide receivers coach was like, "All right, next." And Travis was like, "No, I want to run it again. I want to run it again." And he's like, "Nah, bro, he got in your chest." He's like, "No, run it again." Bro, that next set, that boy got beat by like 4 steps off one move. And he got up
Yeah.
and he went up and mossed him just to make it look good, right? And then obviously the obscenities came in and the BS talking went. But like the kid has that, and he shows that he can do it in practice, on the field. He's got it all. This is what I liked. He didn't take a single snap at DB in practice all spring because he wanted to work on his craft as a wide receiver to be a legitimate wide receiver threat for Colorado this year. He looked good in that spring game. He had a touchdown. What are your thoughts on? We all know he's a top DB. We won't put a number on it. All right. But What are your thoughts on his wide receiver skills at the collegiate level? And can he be that target for Shador Sanders?
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know any of the other wide receivers, so obviously, he's the most known target for them. One thing I will say, not a fan of him not taking a single snap at DB this spring. I mean, obviously, we all know he's a good DB. Um, but I mean, you got to practice DB, even if it's a few snaps here and there, because I mean, you are going to play it. So you got to practice
But
it.
that was spring. That was just spring. He's been
Yeah,
at
I
fall
know,
at
but
fall
still.
practice. He's been, yeah, I know. It's kind of, it seems like a little bit ignorant, right? Like just
Yeah.
look at his coaches. And if his coach is saying
Yeah.
that it's okay, you know what I mean? Then I guess you gotta just let it slide. But I say it wide receiver because I know these aren't big names, but Jimmy Horn Jr. and Xavier Weaver coming over from USF. I mean, I those are natural receivers. Okay, that's their part. They
Hmm.
played, and one of those gentlemen was almost close to 1,000 yards last year. So is he good enough to overtake them, gentlemen? Like, I know he's not a speedster because, with it, Weaver's the speedster. He's going to be the guy going downfield. I mean, Travis got some
Yeah.
speed to him, but it's not like separation like this. You know what I mean? Weaver's
Hmm.
got that. Does he possess all the skills in the wide receiver toolbox to be the one for Colorado?
I don't think so, and I think that will actually play more to his advantage that he it doesn't have all the tools. Because like we're gonna hit, Pac-12's got some dogs at wide receiver.
Right.
Um, and if he just slides in at the slot every once in a while, I don't
Okay.
see him playing on the outside. If he's more of a slot guy, doesn't mean he has to be in there every single rep on the offense, and therefore won't get as tired and can play defense. Because I think they're going to need him more on defense than they will on offense.
See, now that's was my question, and you gave me the perfect layup for this one because there are some dogs in the Pac-12 for its final year of existence, um, that he's gonna have to guard, and I don't know, 6'1", 6 foot, 185, like that's not super heavy, right? You know what I mean?
No.
It's so you're gonna have that wear and tear to be going all game. Like you listen, the guys are that he's gonna Singer, McMillan, Stuyvesant, Franklin, Micah Pittman. Like these are guys that are physical and fast. Are you going to be able to, play all snaps on defense? Because they're probably going to. I know they're loaded at the DB room, but he's the most experienced one. Okay, there's a lot of I think freshmen and sophomores coming in with him. I know he's a sophomore, but he's the most experienced guy, in that group. Is he going to have the stamina to be able to go play 100% defensive snaps and then say 60% offensive snaps? Because I feel like he's going to have to play defense the whole time. Because I don't know if
Hmm.
Colorado's defense is going to be that good this year. The offense is going to put up points, but I think the defense is going to let up points, kind of like a USC.
Yeah.
And I think that
Um,
might be his problem is just stamina.
yeah. If they were smart, um, well, like you said, he's going to play defense 100%. He
Right.
has to. That defense would be atrocious without him. Uh, but I honestly would even taper it down to maybe 40% tops
On the offense,
offense.
okay.
Yeah. Like I said, just slide him into the slot or the backfield. Be creative with him however you want. But he can't play, let's, I would 30 snaps total offense.
Okay. All right.
Um, and that would be it.
And you could be a decoy most of the time to set up,
Yeah.
open gaps on the sides of the field he's on. He did have that, in the bowl game. He scored a touchdown, and he did have that. Was that like a wide receiver end around kind of where it was like
Yeah.
or a screen or whatever. He was in motion, and they tossed him the ball. He went for like 25 yards on it. So yeah, I mean he has that capability. He's a playmaker. With a ball in his hands, he can make things happen. So I'm with that. I don't know if this year we'll see the biggest jump in the offense. You'll probably see a jump from last year, but that's also because he only played a few games. Now,
Right.
you hit me on a text and you asked me a question, and I'm a DB guy, so we all know I'm a Kool-Aid guy, so he's one for me. And you said, is he in the top 10? And I said he was probably around the 5 to 7 range, but he's probably a little bit more farther down the list as we start to kind of like break the guys down. Like Kool-Aid, Marshall, um, Cooper, you got King. I'll be nice to the crowd and we'll put Burke in there. I'm not a big fan of him, but the community, college football, they seem to be a fan. He's got the talent. I need to see a rebound. I need to see something better. Um, and then you got Michigan gentleman. What's his name? Marshall. Is that his last?
Johnson,
Johnson. And then it's the Notre Dame fella,
Morrison. Yep.
Morrison, and then the two out of Georgia. It's like,
Yeah.
which one is going to be the guy to step up? So I think he kind of falls in the Georgia group, right? Like he's kind of right there. It could be 7, 8, 9. He's right around there. We'll have to see this year. I think if he goes off and has like 50 tackles, 50 to 60 tackle range, double-digit pass breakups, over 5 picks, it's going to be really hard not to put him in that group.
Oh yeah. See, we have a majority of the same people, but I would also throw in Josh Newton ahead of him. You could throw in Lassiter. You could
Lassiter
throw
plays
in.
safety though, doesn't he? Play both.
He's a slot. He's
He
a
plays
slot corner.
okay, so he's a nickel only. All right.
Yep. You could throw in Cypress from Florida State.
I like Ventral. But the
Yeah.
problem is with Ventral is he's got a lot of guys up front that are going to be all Americans, and he's going to have all the time in the world to do whatever he wants. Hunter's going to be on an island and taking on the one, and I don't know if his dogs up front will be putting pressure. That's not a knock to either guy. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point, but I would put those guys ahead of them.
I gotcha.
Just because we've seen it too. We've seen him go against the D1 guys, the Power 5 guys.
Yeah.
Where Hunter, we've seen him go up against Alabama A&M, and I mean no disrespect to any Alabama A&M players, but like I said, we've seen it.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. And it was it North Carolina, North Carolina AM too. I think it is
A&T
or Central. A&T. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think he has the capability of being a Devy Darling. I think he's on the cusp, and I think there's a good chance 6 weeks into the season we're putting that stamp on Travis Hunter as a Devy Darling. But we got to see it because everybody's excited to see it last year. And we only got 3 games, but that was due to injury. It wasn't due to non-playing or him just not living up to the hype. So I'm Nino Brown. It's Mr. Get It Done. Dnow. This is Devy Darlings. We're wrapping up another episode. Check us out every week. Next week we got another one. It's my guys. You like him. You're a fan of him. He's getting a lot of buzz right now. Hasn't been named QB1 yet, but we're going to talk about Drew Aller, Penn State QB next. CFB Nation, Devy Darlings. We out.